Hey friends, Alison Hillman here. I am the Alison in BTP by Alison, Been There Photography. And this is another episode of Lady Boss Branding's 3-2-1 Blast, where I'm bringing you the best St. Louis has to offer in the way of small business. Y'all. So this is a time where we're all about to lose our minds at home because we've literally talked about everything that we could talk about, and we need to get back center with everything. This is for everyone, kids, adults, everyone. I have the best yoga instructor in St. Louis, Kula Yoga St. Louis STL, with the one new thing, Miss. There's no prize for touching your toes, Miss Chronically Alive, the Ann Bingham. Hello, my friend.
Hey, sweetie, how you doing?
I'm good. So for y'all at home, if you have never been around me, I started doing yoga, oh my goodness, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I had tried it before. I hated it. And then I took some classes with this chickadee and continued taking some classes, continued doing it at home. Right now I'm doing it at home with you as I see the videos and things. Holy cow, you saved my life. So,
oh, that's too sweet of you.
You are a force to be reckoned with in this world. The thing that I love about I'm going to say the practice that you've built is that, as you always say, that there's no prize for touching your toes.
Right.
But you literally have created a safe space in a world that tends to go after the right people.
Yeah.
And by society standards, I don't have a yoga body, but I love it and I'm good at it.
Yeah. You're very good.
And successful with it. So yes, I'm a former athlete and all of that, but wasn't exactly known for my flexibility in softball. So tell me, Kula Yoga, why do you do what you do?
Yeah, so I came to yoga over 20 years ago because I have a chronic illness, and my neurologist is a very forward-thinking guy and suggested yoga as a way to manage the symptoms of my illness. And probably about 10 years or so ago, he said, this is going to be no longer a recommendation. This is now part of your treatment plan, right? And there's sort of this stigma, I think, with yoga where people think, oh, you can do yoga, it's gonna, those yoga people think it heals everything. Well, for me, it was simply a part of my treatment plan along with a lot of medications. And my illness is progressive, and so as it began to, as I began to get more symptoms and I wasn't able to work full time, I started to transition into teaching yoga as a full-time career. And I started to meld with people who didn't have traditional bodies. And what I mean by that is people who didn't fit into those traditional fitness spaces, whether that was people with bigger bodies who just sort of felt self-conscious going into the big box gyms, or people with chronic illnesses or chronic injuries, or quite frankly, there's a lot of people in our world who have trauma in their backgrounds, and going into a place that's very focused on the physical sort of sexual self can be very triggering. And so the practice that I've set up is really based on my experience as a teacher. I was a teacher for 30 years, and it's very individualized. And so it's about finding the strength and flexibility in the pose that works for you. So, like you said, there is no prize. I always tell people there's no bell on your toes. So if that's where your stretch is, that's great. But you don't need to. You can get the same stretch from your body if you're touching your shins or your thighs. And we use a lot of props, blocks and poles and straps and things like that to help people kind of reach their level of strength and flexibility wherever they are.
That's amazing. My favorite thing about your class is one of the first things you ask everybody, what hurts today?
Yeah.
Where are you uncomfortable? So you know how to tailor the class around who needs what. And that's a pretty magical thing.
Yeah, I'm not that person who comes in with a sort of preset sequence, because if everybody's sort of, and especially like right now, we've got a lot of folks that are used to being active, and we're all kind of sitting and hunching and carrying a lot of tension in places we're not used to. And so when we sit down and really talk about that, doing different things to, sometimes we need a more active practice. Sometimes we need something that's a little bit more like just releasing and opening up our chest and our back to release a lot of that. It's really much more about the people that I'm working with rather than what I had in mind. And that's why my classes tend to be small. So my groups are 10 or less. And that's why in doing online classes, what I'm doing now, I'm not doing anything sort of that YouTube kind of thing. They're all Zoom based, so that I can see people, they can see me, we can have a conversation about how does this feel for your body, and really talk about kind of what's going on with their life. There's good stuff going on, and we really want to celebrate that, but we also want to talk about, like, I rolled over and coughed and now I have this weird pain, and how can we get rid of that?
Absolutely. All right. So one of the cool things that you've got that you do that inspires me each time, and your one new thing for this month is quarantine. But tell me about the One New Thing project.
Yeah. So the One New Thing project actually started almost 9 years ago. It'll be 9 years in September.
Wow.
And it started as an early New Year's resolution. And it started as a way to sort of break out of these predetermined roles of, like, this is what, as a suburban mom at the time, I'm supposed to do or be or feel. And just to try one simple new thing a month, and maybe keep doing it, maybe not, and just sort of explore my world on a grander scale. And I started it with a friend from work, and the intention was that we were going to post these on social media just to sort of hold ourselves accountable. And she was out after about 4 months. She's like, oh my gosh, I've run out of things to do. And for me, they've just sort of continued to pop up. And interestingly, even in quarantine, when we came into quarantine and I said, so my one new thing is quarantine, like, we've never done this. And since that started, I now have 3 new things for this month. Yeah. So in addition to the quarantine, I'm doing I've never seen all of the Marvel movies.
Okay.
And so I'm watching all of the Marvel movies in order. By the way, that's a marathon, FYI. That's a lot. A friend of mine told me that Fender is putting all of their
guitar classes
online, and my husband has a bass guitar sitting around, so I'm going to learn to play bass. And I was talking with a friend the other night, and we were just talking about stuff that you can do, and apparently you can make mead out of stuff you have sitting around your house. So guess what? I'm going to make wine, and it's going to be like a whole speakeasy night. So 3 things, guys. You can do new things sitting around your house. So there's no excuse. And
that makes me sad I can't be there.
Yeah, well, you will be able to be there for the opening. I hope.
Jason's allergic to honey. He can't be anywhere near it.
No.
I know. It's like the one alcohol beerish thing he can't drink.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yep.
That's a bummer.
And I like kissing my husband. So
well, there is that.
Yeah.
You'll have to sanitize your mouth. but there is that.
I'm not touching that.
But yeah, I'm hoping to be able to open that after the quarantine as our celebration. But yeah, so that was a super exciting kind of like discovery that there's just truly there is stuff in your house that you can find to do for the first time.
So I have someone I'll connect you on the mead thing, because one of my favorite clients, my last wedding that I actually shot, they make mead. And so I will hook you guys up with it in
Oh,
an
that's
email deal.
awesome.
So Carl can give you any pointers that he may have. That house had more honey in it than I'd ever seen in any house, and that includes Tina. So
That's awesome.
Cool. So now that we've gotten to know you on the business side, it's time for the 3, 2, 1 blast. Guys,
Yes.
You always have to keep business personal. Make sure that your personality, values, everything matches the small business owner that you're supporting. We're going to jump into the questions. I'm going to set my timer. All right, you ready?
I am ready.
What motivates you to work hard?
Oh gosh. What motivates me to work hard is really my family, and my daughter also has the same illness that I have, and just being able to see people doing stuff they never thought they could do.
It's amazing. Have you ever had a nickname, and what is it?
Yes, I have. My nickname was Noni when I was a little girl. My middle name is Noelle, and I used to go by Noelle, and my
Okay.
couldn't pronounce that, so I was Noni.
I love that. What makes you laugh the most?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Probably what makes me laugh the most is, so I have 2 adult kids, and they get into really heated debates. We've taught them to debate quite well and to advocate quite well, and they debate over really random stuff. For example, the other night, the debate in our house was that poutine was actually pasta because it was in fact a starch and a sauce. And that kind of stuff really makes me laugh very hard.
Canadian pasta. There we are.
Yep.
All right. What is your favorite movie that you could literally watch a million times?
Oh my gosh, Moulin Rouge.
That's fair. What is the most daring thing that you've done?
Most daring thing that I've done, I have flown on a trapeze with and actually done the catch.
Would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely, in a minute.
Family, I know, is really important to you. Do you guys have like a family motto?
Yes. Our family motto is #MakeStories.
What's your favorite family tradition?
Gosh, my favorite family tradition right now is on Mother's Day. We take the ferry, so we have a Jeep, and we take the top and sides and doors off the Jeep, and then we take the ferry over across the Mississippi over to Grafton and grab lunch over there and ride the Great River Road.
That's cool. What's the worst gift you've ever received?
Seat covers.
There's a story behind that, and we're not going to put this on air, and I'll tell you that later. Behind the laugh. Anyway,
yeah.
All right, St. Louis lightning round. Favorite St. Louis zoo animal?
Polar bears.
Perfect. What's your favorite St. Louis attraction?
City Museum.
Oh, cool. All right, friends come to St. Louis. They say, show me the city. Where are you taking them?
Ted Drew's.
That's it?
Well, I mean, my corner bar too.
Right. Where are you taking them?
I'm taking them to Keepers. Gotta go to Keepers.
It's one of my favorite hole in walls in the city. Favorite St. Louis restaurant?
Favorite St. Louis restaurant? Wow. Boy, that's a really good question.
We're so spoiled. I love this because everyone says the same thing.
Wow. Yeah, I would really have to think on that.
What's the one you're missing the most right now?
Gosh, the one I'm missing the most, Stacked. I have a whole list of like who has the best burgers in St. Louis, and it's Max, and then the Iowa Buffet, and then Max, Little Eats, Iowa Buffet, which if you've not been to Iowa Buffet, you are missing out.
It's magic.
And then Stacked is right underneath that. So I think probably Stacked.
I need to start compiling this list and put on a blog or something, because people have come up with some stuff, one that I've never heard of, and two that's just fantastic. All right, St. Louis or Chicago style pizza?
St. Louis. Chicago's not even a real pizza. That's a casserole. I know.
Well, there you have it, folks. I'm like, St. Louis isn't even pizza. That's a cracker. All right, folks, this has been another episode of Lady Boss Branding's 3-2-1 Blast, where we're keeping business personal. Miss Ann, thank you so much for joining us. You're always a pleasure.
You too. Thank you so much, sweetie.
The old saying goes, when a small business makes a sale, they do a little happy dance. So make sure you're shopping local and putting a little groove back into our world. Have a great day.
You too.